All right, Stevie, the people want to know us better. Favorite musical artist?
Favorite music artist? Shout out to Toronto, Canada. I'm going with The Weeknd. I like The Weeknd vibes. What about you?
Big fan. I saw
Okay.
him when he lost his voice.
Hey.
But my number one, for me, it's Mac Miller. Hit it, Shane.
Hey.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Bill's Banter with Stevie Johnson and Michael F. Florio.
Fitzpatrick fires. Oh, caught! Steve Johnson! Touchdown, Buffalo! Why so serious?
The sickest Buffalo Bills podcast.
Allen will run it himself. He pumps. Got some daylight. Hurdles to the end zone.
It's gonna be sick.
We back.
Have you come down from Sunday yet?
Yeah, I'm balanced now, brother. I'm balanced. How about you? How you feeling over there?
I'm still riding the high a little bit. I know players got to turn the page and stuff, but as a fan, I think you could enjoy the whole week.
Yeah, respectfully, definitely can. That was a thriller. We stayed up late. Some of us stayed at the games, So yeah, they've earned it to still be on that high. I'm good with that for sure. How you feel about going into week 2 though?
You know, every fan who left early is swearing they did not leave early. Like,
yeah, because they had a reason. They had a reason to leave.
How am I feeling about this week? I will say this as I know we're supposed to be objective and stuff. As a Bills fan who grew up in New York City, I have no love lost for the Jets ever. Like,
yeah.
When you guys were playing them and they had Rex Ryan and went on those runs, the fans, you would have thought it was never going to end. And
right.
They've never been back since. So,
I mean, look, this is what it's about. This is football. No time to be feeling sympathy and feeling sorry for people or teams because they're not at the level that you expect them to be at to be competitive against a MVP caliber offense and team. I would say, yeah, like keep the foot on neck because this team is not a team to be feeling sorry for. They're actually really competitive, and they have something special brewing, Mike. Let me know if you know about this. That Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson connection that dates back to their college days. So I think they're brewing up something special out there in New Jersey. But this year, I don't think is the year for them to get over the Bills, brother.
I was asked if I think the Jets will make the playoffs this year on another show, and I said I don't think they make it, but I think they're a lot of fun this year. Like, I think they'll be competitive. I think teams are not going to feel great going into matchups against the Jets. We're fantasy guys. I think there'll be a lot of good fantasy stuff there, but there is a lot of talent on this Jets team, and I don't think the Bills could overlook them, especially a divisional rival.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, like they have a solid running game with Breece Hall and Braylon Johnson, you said?
Braylon
Allen. So they got something that they're building, but when you look at it overall, I'm just seeing a team that's learning how to win versus a team that already knows how to win, and that's why I'm just favoring the Buffalo Bills in this matchup, simply put.
Yeah, so I think the Bills match up well offensively. I do think the Jets' strength, like you were saying, the running attack is worrisome for a Bills defense that just gave up a ton of ground production last week.
Yeah, for sure. But you gotta also understand who did they give up those stats and those numbers to? That was Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. A very potent, fire-powered offense that's next level. And not to say that Justin Fields and Breece Hall isn't one of those top caliber offense and run games, but they do have the potential to be that. And I don't feel potential is going to be the team that's already established in this league like the Buffalo Bills, led by Josh Allen, MVP of the league.
Yeah, and I know you were watching some Jets film this week. Obviously, you watched the Bills. How do you think, because there is a lot of talent led by Sauce Gardner, but there's a lot of talent on that Jets defense. How do you think the Bills should go about attacking them?
Just like that, they have to attack. They continue to step into games as if they are the big brother, and that automatically puts you in attack mode. Being able to run counters, being able to run powers downhill, being able to just let Josh be Josh and open up the offense to his receivers and his weapons. I would say when I was watching the New York Jets, They are a very good team, very competitive, got athletes everywhere. However, when I say they're learning how to win, what I see in their defense is they'll read and they're catching. They're catching the offense, which is, I mean, it's getting them at a disadvantage because football is about inches. And if you're catching an opponent that's attacking, you're giving up, that's a mix of 3 to 4 yards already. So that's going to put you behind, and it's going to make your offense have to play a perfect game. And I don't believe a team's going to play a perfect game against the Buffalo Bills, Mike.
Yeah, and Sauce Gardner being the star of this, I do want to. So, as a receiver, right, when you're going up, because Keon Coleman is going to see a good amount of Sauce Gardner in this. I know he bounces around, and Sauce doesn't. So there'll be some times where he's not on him, but because you're the perfect person to ask here. As a Bills wide receiver going up against a team like the Jets who have a star cornerback, might bring some back memories for you. As that receiver, though, are you like, just give me opportunities against this guy, or what is it like?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because that's all you hear throughout the week. You hear the buildup of this star player that they have. And obviously they have to build up their players. It's marketing. But we hear this too much. And then we go to meetings on top of meetings and we're studying these guys. And then you just ready to get out there and just explode and ball out. And the thing that I love about this era opposed to the era that I was playing in, I may feel that type of way, but I couldn't necessarily go out there and say, hey, just give me the ball, coach, do this and this and that. It wasn't really like that. There was still an offense we had to run. Although I knew I could dominate that player, as opposed to this era, oh, you could get the ball out the clip. They know the social media is going back and forth with wars. I know Josh is in tune with his players. Like, okay, yeah, we go get the one up. So whenever I see you one-on-one over there, just know I'm going to you every time. And it's a known thing. It's not like a hidden thing between a quarterback and a receiver, going against the playbook. So it's going to be entertaining to see where Sauce Gardner line up, because he is their star DB, and he's expected to eliminate one of these top receivers, if it's Khalil, if it's Keon, or if it's Josh Palmer. We'll see.
And I'm a big believer, right? Like, let's say it's Keon. I'm a big believer. You should give him an early opportunity, because for that reason, right? Like, you hear it all week. Let's get it right out of the way. Like, I feel like if you wait long in the game and stuff, you're kind of giving the defense, like, because a DB's job is to erase the wide receiver. I always get mad when an offense voluntarily does that. Like, make it prove that DB can shut down your one before you just game plan someone else in. That's
exactly. No, that you're 100% right. You need to be an offensive coordinator, guru. Well, actually, you are. You're the guru of your fantasy league, one of the best in the world, man. So you understand what you're saying, man, and that's definitely an advantage. And it's a surprise. It's a surprising advantage, because you have your first 15 to 20 plays already scripted, and nowhere in that script is saying we're going to feed X player or Z player. But if you have a connection, like a Josh Allen Keon type connection, and you come out and you see there in the one high or whatever, and you dominate that and you keep going, now you can save your script, and now you're already moving the yards, and it's just a beautiful feeling. That's called being in the zone. And I love what I've seen, and we got a glimpse of that in the fourth quarter last week against the Baltimore Ravens, the Bills in that zone.
Yeah, and so in your opinion, like, when you come off of a game like that, how are you just itching to get back out there next week? Like, how do you reset?
Yes. No, you reset by getting your body back better than what it was, or than what it is after feeling that high of a game. Because once all the highs go down, you start to feel those swellings and ankle injuries and wrist injuries and things like that. But the success of the game, it makes you want to be a part of it again, and you feel like, hey, we might be in another thriller. And being on the good side of that, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, or how it looks. As long as you get in that win, I think there's guys that's hurt that will still be lining up or suiting up this upcoming week.
And we're talking about the offense right now and how to attack this Jets defense. You have a prediction about Josh Allen that we're going to get to a little bit later in the show, but for me, I think a big step in Josh's maturation is, like, watching him play the Jets, right? Because there was a stretch where the Jets, I would always say they were Josh's kryptonite. Like, no one could stop Josh Allen, but I'd never seen a defense make him as uncomfortable and maybe make a little bit of decisions that he would want back, like the Jets did for so long. But 3-4 games against them, I think he has kind of figured out this defense. And to me, that was like a big step for Josh Allen. So I'm wondering how you think the Bills offense as a whole matches up against the Jets defense.
Yeah, I definitely believe the Bills offense is superior to the Jets defense. And like you said, the Jets, they are no slouches. They've actually pulled off 4 victories against Josh Allen, since they've been competing with each other since he's came into the league. So, that's pretty impressive right there. But like you said, the past 3 to 4, 5 games and matchups, Josh has just been on a whole nother level, and the Buffalo Bills organization hasn't done anything but provide more weapons for him to be even better. So I just do not see the New York Jets stopping Josh Allen this upcoming game. I feel like it's going to be another, highlight game for Josh Allen and his wide receivers.
Yeah, and I know for the last 4 days, it's all been great in Bills land, but some unfortunate news today. Ed Oliver was spotted in a walking boot. He practiced Wednesday, did not Thursday, so maybe something happened in between those days. I've been like looking on social media. I haven't really seen too much in depth there, but man, I hope he's. I think Sunday might have been the best game Ed Oliver has ever played.
Oh, yeah. Now, if you want to talk about a breakout game, that was definitely Ed Oliver's game to be had. And to hear about this injury, I'm glad that he's in a walking boot and they're not saying that he's going in for x-rays and this and that for some type of fracture. I just hope that's not what it is. But in this case, I mean, we knew it was going to happen somewhere, some type of injury. And what did the Buffalo Bills do? They loaded up on defensive line. So for this injury to happen, it sucks a lot, yes. However, we have guys prepared to step in and make a name and learn off of the tape that Ed Oliver put out in week 1. So it may be a blessing in disguise for us.
I will say I think that's the biggest difference maybe between being a fan and a former player. Like, you're like, I want, like, get the high-end talent. That's where you should be spending on and stuff. But as a player, like, you almost every episode, I feel like you're hammering that point that, like, depth is the most important thing in the NFL.
Yes,
and it's
yes.
week two, and they already need that depth.
Yeah, brother. That's what it is. It's the inevitable. You got to, because you got to look at it in a way where working out. If you work out so hard on 10, obviously your body's going to hurt and it's going to end up breaking down. So you think you can put a person through an NFL season going up against contact and running every day and expect them to not be hurt? The hurt is going to come. So it's all about getting your body back right. That's why we were speaking on the Bills earlier. When you get out of a high game like that, yeah, your body's going to hurt, but you get right back to the meeting rooms. You get back to the hot and cold tub. You get all your body work in before you go handle your business. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm talking as if the people can hear us when we was talking backstage. but yeah, man, like, you got to take care of the body. This game is brutal.
The thing I give you guys, like you and every NFL player to ever play, credit for is, like, a normal human wouldn't be able to walk the next day, I think, after an NFL game. And you guys, to recover, you hit the weight room. Like,
oh my goodness, yeah. Hey,
mind-blowing.
The salary is different too. So I think a lot of people may last a couple weeks.
I think people may want to last a couple weeks. I don't know if those bodies are holding up.
Right. Imagine going up against Derrick Henry, right? And then saying, yeah, oh, no, I'm good. I'm good off that.
Some Browns, I think it was Dolpit, the Browns defender, said was asked, how hard is it to tackle Derrick Henry? And he said, not hard. What are we doing?
Yeah, he just capping. Matter of fact, shout out to our guy, that 7-1 Stitch. We may work out some type of deal. Got to get you some caps, Mike. You always stay styling with the caps. Right now, you got your Clark Kent out. You got your Clark Kent.
Dude, this hair keeps falling down. I don't know what to do with it. I figured I'm going to leave it.
I like it. Hey, but while we at it, though, let's give a shout out to our first sponsor, man, Cigar Mafia. I want to give a shout out to Cigar Mafia for sponsoring the Bills Banter podcast. If you want to log in and get you some cigars, cigarmafia.com for the nice, slow, patient, even burn. Go ahead and get you the Cigar Mafia, baby. My favorite is the Sweet Victory. It's got the sugar tip on it, and it's a nice, slow burn, man. It's really enjoyable. Stevie,
tried and true, uses the product. We're not going to promote anything that we don't believe in, and this is thank you to the Cigar Mafia. Look at that right there, ready for after the show, ready for after a Bills victory potentially on Sunday. Stevie, on the Jets side of the ball, right? Breece Hall, we talked about. Justin Fields, I don't think Justin Fields is getting enough credit for how well he played on Sunday, doing it with his legs, throwing on the move, like 5 of 7 on passes of 10 or more air yards. But I wanted to ask you, do you think the Jets are better equipped for this duo after just facing the best duo in the NFL potentially in Lamar and Derrick Henry?
Absolutely. I was actually thinking about that before we got on. I was like, this is actually a perfect game for the Buffalo Bills. After playing against, like you said, King Henry and Lamar Jackson, now you go up against Justin Fields and Breece Hall. I mean, this is exactly what you want to get your team prepared for the later season. You know, there's going to be games where you got to stop guys that's versatile, like a Breece Hall, who can get it out the backfield or who can catch the ball out the backfield. And then there's going to be players that we know, like Derrick Henry. They might be the team that we play against later on. And you know, it just comes down to the matchup and the health and the depth of the team. And that's my take on that one right there, Mike.
I think one of the biggest matchups, obviously Keon and Sauce, we've talked about. On the other side, Garrett Wilson versus Christian Benford. Christian Benford might be the most underrated cornerback in football. He's going to have his hands full this week. We know that Ohio State connection with Fields and Wilson, but I'm really looking forward to watching how Benford sticks with, and if the Bills let him shadow, stuff like that. I think this is a big matchup to watch.
Yeah, you know, big shout out to Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is one of my favorite young receivers. Justin Fields, I enjoy watching him since he was a high school athlete on Netflix, I believe he was on. He reminded me of the NCAA college creative player. It was like Justin Fields was that guy in high school. And then to see that connection in college, 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns together. And to have Garrett Wilson going up against Christian Benford, 6th-round draft pick. What more can I say about a guy on defense? Because all those DBs feel like they can guard anybody. Even when they get beat, they feel like they won that route. And Christian Benford, I think, is ready and prepared to take over this game after giving up that one-hand catch to DeAndre Hopkins, after almost giving him a goose egg on catches. So I think Christian is ready to come back to take Garrett Wilson's name. We'll be looking forward to watching that matchup.
Look, you talk about it. DB is a hard position because you could lose one time, and that's all the fans remember. And Benford did a great job last week, but D-Hop is a legend for a reason, you know, like, and he still got
Indeed.
it. I did want to ask you one thing before we move on to our favorite segment of the week. I listen to other shows and stuff, and you hear a lot of talk about trap games all the time. As a player, though, is that an actual thing?
No, it's not an actual thing. You know, every week you go out and you prepare for your team as if they're the best team in the league, no matter what their record is. We don't disrespect anybody on opposing teams because we know the work that's being put in. Sometimes the ball just don't go their way, and sometimes they just don't have the players that we have. But if you do go into a game as if it's a trap game, you already setting yourself up for failure. So you might as well go in there dominating and ready to attack. And I believe the Buffalo Bills are led by a quarterback who's been groomed and taught how to take over his team. And that's exactly what we're going to see with the Buffalo Bills.
And I worry even less with the veteran. Like maybe if they were all young guys, you worry a little bit. But with a team like this that's been there, I don't worry. But Stevie, I hinted earlier, you have a prediction about Josh Allen. Takes us to our favorite segment of the week.
Shane, hit it.
Why so serious?
All right, we're going for our Why So Serious segment. So last week, Josh Allen threw for 394 passing yards. I'm going to say this. Against the New York Jets, the past 2 games, Josh Allen has thrown for 2 passing touchdowns. I'm going to say he's going to throw for another 2 passing touchdowns to make it 3 straight. So make sure you mark that bet. Josh Allen, 2 touchdown passes against the New York Jets, week 2. Stamp it.
I like it. I feel like maybe we could sprinkle in a rushing one in there. Like,
hey, yeah, shout out to Josh. Also leading the franchise now in rushing touchdowns, all-time leader. So that's pretty epic and special that we've been able to witness this guy go through these golden years.
No one in NFL history has more games with 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns, and it's like double the amount of the next closest person. He is a unicorn, and I'm just happy he's a Bill and not like a Brown or whoever, one of those other teams that could have drafted him in 20 years.
Yeah. Hey, brother, it's amazing. So before we move on, shout out to Thurman Thomas, who was the initial, holder of the record. And that's pretty amazing to see the things that he was doing, as a running back. So shout out to Thurman Thomas and him and his family, big time Bills Mafia supporters. And also with Josh, could you believe when Josh was getting drafted, people was like, no, they didn't want this. They wanted somebody from the big Power 5 colleges, but they didn't see what we saw. A California kid throwing the ball with strength in Wyoming weather. Come on now. It was a match made in heaven.
I didn't dive into the NFL draft then, like that was 7 years ago, like I do today. But people I would ask, they were like, because the Bills needed a quarterback. I was like, who should they go for? They were like, anyone but Josh Allen. Josh Rosen is the guy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy the Bills did not listen to everyone else. He's our guy for life.
Absolutely. And it wouldn't have been a bad pick if they would have selected Josh Rosen. But I felt like Josh Rosen wasn't the guy because he was playing in L.A. The weather was nice and beautiful, and that's only in September in Buffalo. We need a guy who can weather that storm. And people didn't know I was initially going to Wyoming, so I had visits and training sessions out there through high school. And so I understood that weather after being a Buffalo Bill. And when I heard Josh Allen's up there, it's a smaller – well, at the time he was small – but a smaller version of a Jim Kelly type, but more versatile in a sense of athlete, And it was just a match made in heaven. I was high on it.
We have seen California quarterbacks go to the Bills, start off hot, and then that snow starts falling, that wind starts whipping, and they're not used to it. Happens with Miami teams all the time too. Like,
and what college did that California quarterback come from?
I know one was Stanford. Was UCLA one or USC
Indeed.
one?
All of it is in beautiful weather. We're talking about Wyoming, brother. Your nose gonna start bleeding if you out there any type of day in the winter. So, it's different. It's different. Now you got a California kid that can be a Cali kid in that weather. It's perfect for Buffalo. It was perfect for them to select that kid. That was a great choice by the staff.
I still can't imagine what that first Buffalo winter was like for you, a fellow Cali kid. Like,
yeah, honestly, I can sit here now and think back on it and be like, it was kind of cool, but I wasn't thinking about the people that actually live in New York and, that got to really deal with that storm and having, casualties to it. I was just looking at it as all I see is sun and palm trees out here. And when I go out there and see snow, I thought it was cool, but man, it's a brutal thing, but it's also a beautiful thing. That's Mother Nature right there for you.
And it's a built-in home field advantage for the Buffalo Bills because they know what they have to play in January. They could build for that. Stevie, I do want to ask you some stuff though, because there's a lot of legendary moments that you've had against the Jets. Do any game or moment or play stand out for you as like that was my favorite against this team?
I would say the first touchdown that I had in the Meadowlands, I believe Brett Favre was the quarterback. And when I caught that touchdown, I did a celebration, like the sticky fingers. And
that one.
Yeah, this was years. This was rookie year. And
okay.
It was just pretty cool. I only had like maybe 2 or 3 catches. JP Lossman was the quarterback at the time. And it was just cool because, watching Brett Favre again, it was like, dang, I scored a touchdown at the same time Brett Favre was on the field, and I was just a rookie. And, if you look back at it, that was against number 24. And, again, that just goes to show that I wasn't really one of those guys looking at the depth chart of other teams. I didn't know I was going against a first-round draft pick. I was just happy to get in the game at that time, and it was my opportunity to show the team that I'm here for a reason, and it worked out.
I do want to thank you again, I opened the show saying like being a Bills fan in that era of the Jets in New York City wasn't fun. You gave me a lot of ammo though. I would send the crashing jet clip all the time to my Jet fan friends. The finger guns, like all that. Yes. I thought it was amazing, and I would emulate it when I would play, stuff like that. But
that's what I'm saying. Man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying in the beginning. Yeah, we gotta have fun and be competitive, man. We go smash the Jets, man. We're not feeling sorry for them. This is our rivals at the end of the day. And if they do get a win, okay, they earned for us to go back and say, oh, we was wrong. But man, I'm not about to be falling in and being all soft for them, man. They about to lose, and that's that.
And what I know I call them the Jersey Jets to my friends because they're not a New York City team, but they get labeled as New York. What is it like playing in New York? Is it actually more difficult or intimidating than, because you hear it all the time and from media people like, oh, it's New York, it's New York. Is it actually that way for players?
You mean like playing in the Meadowlands?
Yeah, I guess it's Jersey there, but that New York
Yeah.
crowd and stuff.
No, the when I think back at it, New England was the place that was more entertaining. You can hear the fans a lot in New England. I think it was more fun there than it was out in Jersey. I mean, they looked the part, I think, on the TV to get the right camera cuts, but I didn't really hear the Jet fans or the Giant fans when we played against them out there. New England fans was very rowdy, and we had fun with each other.
And look, Revis, one of the greatest of all time, nothing but respect for him. I think that's the Jet that everyone thinks of. There was one wide receiver that gave him fits every time they played, and everyone watching is looking at him. So, I mean, shout out to you, man. You were when the Jets were a thing, you were the one thing that they could not stop.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like now we may see something really big between Josh and one of these receivers. I want to say it's go be Keon Coleman. That's why I'm hoping Sauce is lined up against him, because at the clip that these guys are getting in nowadays, it's going to surpass anything that I was doing against Revis. That was just a handful of catches that I was getting. Imagine if it was in this era where we can just line it up and let's go to Stevie. Let's see what this is about, the one-on-ones. That it'll be magical for me and Fitzmagic, because that's the type of player that he already was. Now, if you imagine a coach and a staff that didn't mind that, it'd be next level.
I will say, look, I know there's like different styles in all of your guys' play, but I think the Keon and Josh connection has a potential to be a Fitzy Stevie, like modern day, like the improvisation that Keon just knows when Josh is like in create mode, he's just find a way to get open somehow. I see like a modern version of you and Fitzy in that.
Yes, Guru. That's why I was saying this year is going to be the year for him to just prove to everybody that I can be that guy and I am that guy. But the next season, when all of that is already in the barn, oh my goodness, we about to see something special between these two, and I'm so looking forward to that, brother.
But you're telling me when it was Bills Jets, Revis lined up opposite of you, the game plan going in wasn't feed Stevie early on?
No, it was just the same thing. We go try to take advantage of, we go run it here. It was everything except for we're not going to focus on this and that, because I'm assuming Revis was getting a lot of that credit. He was the talk of the town. But like only me and Fitz knew that nobody can really mess with me, but you couldn't really go against like the offense. You know what I'm saying? You still got to call the plays that's being called. But some of those plays where Fitz was getting me the ball, yeah, he did it on his own. That's why I always got love for Fitz over any quarterback when they ask me any situation. Even when they talk about Josh, it's like, man, but the things that Fitz sacrificed for me to even get the ball sometimes, like it wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have done that and been a robot quarterback. So, that's why I give my props to him.
I did go this summer just for fun, and I watched some of the matchups between you and Revis. And look, he's amazing, maybe the best to ever do it. But that improvisation, that stutter step, it
gotta be different.
It was undefeated.
Gotta be different. It's undefeated, man. It was some good battles, and yeah, props to him. He got good balance, good strength, and his IQ was great on defending routes. But I felt like, with all that he got, let me just do something different and just throw off his timing to get him thinking something here. And then once I get at the point where let me just dart over here and I know I'll get a step on him. That's just natural. But if I was to try to run it regular line type routes, he's too smart of a DB to let a guy sit there and do all these wiggles. He's going to either cut you off, break you down into halves, or he's going to get a hand on you. And people don't know because he don't look so ripped. He's really strong though, and creative where he puts his hand. So, you got to give props to that, and you got to use that to your advantage. And that's exactly what I did. Just threw him off his spot.
I'm going to give you credit here because not only everyone knows the one receiver that gave Revis fits were you. I saw a clip from Richard Sherman's podcast where he said the hardest day of his career was when he was like, the Seahawks beat the Bills by three or four scores. It was something. He was like, I went home and I was like, what am I doing? He was like, I've never felt that bad as a professional. And those are two of the cream of the all-star cornerbacks of their time.
Yeah. Big shout out to Sherm because he was the first to really speak on it and, acknowledge that. A lot of people didn't. A lot of DBs don't. But the thing with Sherm was, he wasn't afraid to really play man-to-man and be physical. Everybody else, I've never felt they was trying to jam, like even Revis. Revis wouldn't jam. He would just try to shadow you and then catch you. Sherman was up there trying to jam me and everything, so I gave him credit for it. But little did he know that's what I want, and it showed that day. They definitely dominated us, but that also goes to show, like I was saying earlier, imagine if it was how it is now, Stevie going against Sherman. Let's just feed Stevie until he can't go no more. That would have been sweet. We wouldn't have got beat by 3 touchdowns. They wouldn't have had to keep throwing me the ball late in the game. Like, oh, now you guys want to throw it to me. That's why I was so mad when I scored the touchdown. Like, we could have been doing this, but you can't talk like that, or you couldn't talk like that at the time. I just felt like I was against things.
I think that's one of the best changes in approach nowadays compared to past football. Like, teams aren't waiting till they fall behind to start throwing. They're like, this is our strength. We're going to do it. I give Bill Belichick a lot of credit because there was a playoff game against the Titans where they were up 4 scores and he kept throwing. And they were like, why are you throwing the ball? And he was like, that is how we can win against this defense. Why would I stop doing it?
Man, and it's simple, brother. Like, even it don't have to be just to the receiver. It can be to the flats or anything. But when you have a vanilla offense, oh man, it can lag out. Especially if you get a couple punts, you get behind a great offense like the Seattle Seahawks were with Marshawn Lynch in the backfield led by Russ Wilson and all those weapons that they had. It was, you got behind 2 touchdowns. It was impossible, so it was something.
Last thing I got for you before we say goodbye to the people. I know you want to be, I want you even more than you probably want to be on that practice squad right now. But I think if anything, you might need to get out there and help these guys with their celebration a little bit.
Hey, talk about celebrations. Hey, I'm actually cool that they ain't really focused on celebrating, man. They locked in, so I'm gonna take that as a blessing in disguise. And I love the subtle celebration. Shout out to Christian Biffers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
keep it real subtle. But I'm looking forward to seeing them continue to get scores and entertain the way they do. Maybe the celebrations will come later. Even Matt Milano's celebration now.
He didn't say a word on Hard Knocks. That is very fitting for him. I will say though, when I was just a fan watching, I used to wait every week for what your celebration was. I'm a huge fan of celebrations. I would love to see. I get it, locked in. Big. I would love to see Keon dunking it or something. I don't know. I'm not the creative one here. They got to go to you.
You know what? That'd be cool. Actually, I seen Ole Miss against my Kentucky Wildcats. They brought a basketball court out. So I think that'd be something cool. Bring a court out and let Keon slam it after him being a Florida State hooper.
Are you a Kentucky Wildcat basketball fan as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everything Kentucky. Everything California and Kentucky.
John Wall?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What? They was dominant. Drew Bledsoe. We had Eric Bledsoe, Boogie Cousins. Oh, come on, man. They was
Anthony Davis. There was a stretch where I won't lie. I was rooting hard against Kentucky basketball because you just won every single. I'm a Syracuse guy. You guys were winning everything though.
Yeah. So I like Melo at Syracuse. McNamara, Johnny Flynn out representing, I think, Niagara Falls. Shout out to the Falls. Be out there next week. But
there you go. Different city every week. You never know where you're gonna find Stevie.
I know, right? Where's Stevie? I need one of them. Where's Waldo? If you got any creators out there watching us, if you creating, I need a Where's Stevie shirt. Have me and Guru all over the states and the maps, man. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm usually out here in Southern California, hey, what time zone are you in? Well, we got to find a time to record.
hey, that's what it's about. Though it's a blessing to be busy, brother. Salute.
Yes, it is. And I think that's a good place for us to say goodbye today. Unless you have anything else you want to say to the people.
No. Oh, yeah. Hey, fantasy football. Let's talk about that real quick. Quick. Who you got? I got Juiced Up Threads. So shout out to Juiced Up Threads. You did take a loss last week. I see that. They got me winning by 1 right now. No games being played. But, I got Juiced Up Threads, and I'm 1-0. How you doing right now, Mike?
Well, I'm 0-1, unfortunately, because I ran into Stevie last week, but I'm playing. Oh, I'm playing Charlie, HBHF book guy.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
projected to win right now, but he's 1-0. I'm 0-1. I need my guys. They're locked in, right? Like they're not celebrating after their scores. They need the win.
Exactly. Take a little bit of the Bills info with you, man.
Man, I do have Justin Fields on my team though, so
you grabbed him right before I grabbed him, man. But before my pick was up, I was looking for Fields.
And
so yeah, you got
like
him.
a fool, I sat him in week 1 against you, but I will be playing him this week. So unfortunately, I'm hoping that he scores a touchdown or 2, but I'm hoping that Josh scores like 6. So
exactly. There we go. And that's a wrap.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Bills Banter on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.